And that is just awkward when you see somebody pouring your pee down their hand. Really, really weird. She's picking it up. My pee's leaking everywhere. Meanwhile, in my head, Blake, I am reliving the trauma of what they call
Mm.
shy bladder syndrome. And I was sweating bullets. I was like, if
You didn't
she
have shy
ruins this
booty hole
test for me
syndrome, that's for
and I
sure.
have to retest. The first time.
Wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey. Welcome back to PM in the AM, a comedy podcast for all listeners. Wow, listeners of all ages. You'd think the first time doing the intro I would have nailed it, but nope, I've heard this enough times. Let's get back into it. This show contains a type of humor to make you laugh out loud no matter where you're listening. Each week we take a deep dive into some of the funniest questions, debates, purchasable items, news stories, and other miscellaneous topics found on the internet. My name is Blake Bushman, and I am joined by the Honorable Porter McNeely, and we strive to bring you about a half hour of humor.
Wow, Blake, you did great. It's harder than it looks. I just have to say that
Man,
much.
I'll
though.
tell you what, I was shaking in my boots. You would not believe.
For about, we created that maybe like 20 episodes or something ago, and I have finally somewhat got it down, but it's still a little bit confusing. And so I think you did great for your first time. A little stumble at the beginning, but I actually sent it to you written from my perspective. So I am glad you did not call yourself Porter McNeely. You were quick on your feet, and that's what's important in podcasting right there, Blake.
I had to pivot, which, reading and thinking at the same time are not they're not two of my strong suits alone. We try to combine them together. It was really a struggle for me. So I'm glad I made it through, though. It was, I tried to keep it classic on my first go around on the intro. And then I got about 5 feet in and fell on my face, but we made it. And now I get to ask you the so exciting question of how are you doing, Porter?
Oh, dude, I am doing fantastic. I've been waiting, I've been kind of having that idea that you were going to do the intro for a few episodes. So it's great to be asked that question. I've been having an excellent week. I'm doing great. We've come up with a lot of good ideas for today's show that I'm really excited about. And so, yeah, I'll go ahead and announce what we got coming up for the people. So we are going to be doing kind of a new idea, new segment type thing. So we actually posted a reel to Instagram that kind of took off on both YouTube, Instagram, and Blake, for a position that he took on one of our segments last week.
It
was
took off for all the wrong reasons.
Oh. Blake was getting destroyed in the comments. I mean, these comments were ruthless and bad. So kind of like the late night TV shows do with the celebrities read mean tweets, we're going to have Blake read mean comments directed at himself. He can tell us how accurate or inaccurate they are. So we're going to be doing that first thing after I announce the rest of the show. But we are really looking forward to that, Blake. And
yeah, I hope people feel bad for me is really what comes out of this.
If you don't know the reel I'm talking about, head over to Instagram at PM in the AM podcast or YouTube at the same, and you can check that out for sure and just see what we're talking about. But we also are going to be doing some situational awareness where you guys have sent in questions and we have advice for you. And these are really good topics today, Blake. I'm really excited to dive a little deeper into those. And then after that, we will get into a little bit of a Tell Us a Time segment where we're going to just be going back and forth on a topic that I feel like is super annoying in my life, and that topic is drug tests. And we're just going to leave it at that. You're probably scratching your head now saying like, why is that such a dumb topic? But you're definitely not going to want to miss the stories that we have coming up in that segment. So stay tuned. But first things first, Blake, let's hear what the people had to say about you.
All right. I'm not going to read all the names because, I don't want to out anybody for being rude, but let's get into it. Dude is softer than the Pillsbury Doughboy. Which is probably my favorite one, really. I mean, the creativity, I got to give it to him. So, I don't know.
No, I totally agree. That was,
it.
as I was watching these comments roll through, and this is off of the video of Blake saying that if a waiter brings him the wrong food, he's just going to eat it and not complain. And so we got to give that for context.
Right.
But
yeah,
that was probably my favorite because it was funny and it was sort of a jab, but it wasn't the absolute savagery that some of these later ones are going to be coming. So I thought that was pretty good humor. How did you take that one, Blake? Did that hurt the feelings? Like, where are we on a scale of 1 to 10 on pain right there?
On the Pillsbury Doughboy, not very. Everybody loves the Pillsbury Doughboy. So I mean, the fact that I'm softer than him might not be the biggest compliment in the world, but you know, it's who doesn't like a good Pillsbury roll or whatever they make. So I'll take it. This next one though is a little bit. This one says, "What kind of cowardice is this? Dude that is afraid of confrontation?" Which I really like this one because this guy must feel like he's the toughest dude in the world. Like I'm imagining him like, yeah, I'm rude to everybody. I like to start fights.
Yeah, that is the guy that if you accidentally like don't use your turn signal in traffic or you don't even like cut him off, but he feels that you did, he's going to threaten you with your life. And so, I mean,
yeah,
to just avoid a little confrontation, I don't think it's that big of a deal, but people were heated.
Oh, people got passionate about this. This next guy says, so he definitely sits to pee, which is true. But I don't see the problem with that.
That guy nailed it.
I mean, he knows me. He listened to the podcast. We've talked about it before. Sitting down to pee is far more comfortable. I get my phone time. I can, scroll through whatever I'm feeling that day. Sitting is far more comfortable than standing. So if I have the time and I'm home, I'm a sitting man. So this guy nailed it.
Yeah, so on a pain level there, you're probably not feeling much pain because he's telling the truth.
Zero. I feel bad for him because he doesn't know the pleasure of sitting to pee. Like, girls think that guys have it great because we can stand to pee, which is only good when you're outside. Other than that, it's not anything special. So sitting down to pee is superior. If you haven't tried it, go ahead, get your phone out, spend some time. You'll be in the bathroom for 30, 45 minutes, but it is pleasant.
Absolutely. This guy's toilet for sure has yellow splashes all over it. There's pee all over the floor. It's probably disgusting. So for him to come out and say that as an insult to you, meanwhile, he's standing in his own filth, basically. So that one is, I'm throwing that one out as well.
Yeah, I mean, I never get into a fight with my wife about putting the toilet seat down. So I feel like it's a benefit for my marriage. It's a benefit for my my leisure. I'm on board. All right, we'll go to this next one here. This one, I'm imagining this is from a foreigner, which shout out to our international audience. This just shows that men are no longer men in America. Who would tolerate that BS? Only a simp. Which I don't think this person knows what a simp is.
What are you simping for?
Yeah, simping for like the waitress. I don't think this person knows what that means. So you can't hurt my feelings when I don't understand the insult.
Yeah, this person must be, probably like 60, just figured out what YouTube is, and somehow saw our video. And they're like, man, nowadays, when I was a kid, we were out there working in the field all day. Nowadays, these guys are just on a podcast talking about how they will. That's what I'm saying. That's what it sounds like to me because the use is just so incorrect.
I'm imagining this is a kid,
unless
like
you're simping
a 12-year-old out of Indonesia. Like, English is not his first language, and he hears simp online and thinks he knows what it means, but he really doesn't. Or it was a typo and he meant wimp. Like, that's the other option. But
that's fair.
It is capital S on simp, though. So I think it was a deliberate simp. Like, they just don't know what it means.
A deliberately incorrect simp term, for sure.
Which, ironically, this next person did call me a wimp. And they said, oh, you a wimp. Got it. Which I appreciate the simplicity. I mean, they got straight to the point. They didn't mess around. So I can appreciate that.
And so far, have any of these actually hurt yet? Are you still just joking around with them?
No,
how are you feelings-wise, Blake?
I'm having a great time. Any publicity is good publicity. I feel confident in myself, and I stand by my take that I will not send anything back at a restaurant. These guys did not convince me otherwise. And really, if you look at their profile pictures, it just makes me feel like I'm even more right because they don't look like well, the brightest bunch, to say the least.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The only restaurant this crowd seemed to be eating at was Denny's or IHOP.
Oh, and they've
So,
gotten
I
banned
mean,
at every Denny's and IHOP. They're not allowed in rest. They have to order DoorDash because they're not
yeah,
allowed. They're so rude.
yeah, they are so rude.
Yeah, I mean, there was people saying like, "Oh, if they get my order wrong, they're gonna know it." I'm just like,
Yeah,
okay,
jeez, man.
you're just rude to the waitress and the wait staff. Which to me, I feel like that's the biggest judge of a character as a person. If you're in the dating scene and you're trying to get a gauge on how nice somebody is, just take them out to eat, because how they treat the wait staff and just people in general will greatly show you how they treat everybody in their life, because they got no patience for somebody who brought them the wrong meal and they're just jabbing at them all the time. They're probably not the person you want to be with. So that's actually a pretty good gauge. All these people in the comments are probably not somebody you want to date. I mean, one guy in his profile picture, I'm looking at it now, is just flipping off the camera. So he looks like a pleasant individual.
I know there's definitely some high quality people that were and really we talked about this. It was just shocking, that people come out of the woodwork and get so upset. People were like really upset, really angry, and really hateful in the comments towards Blake about something as simple as that. So, I mean, we're
Which I
joking
thought it was
around about it.
hilarious.
Obviously,
I'm having a good time.
yeah. Yeah, we've both, had things directed at us on certain videos. And I even remember like the first time. So we posted a reel. I don't even remember which one it was. And some guy commented, he's like, "I'm sorry, but this is this worst content. This is the worst video I've ever seen. This is so dumb. Like, you guys suck." And he just like kept going on and on and on. And me and Blake, we had a good laugh about it, because we might not be for everyone.
We'll send each other screenshots of your comments. So please feel free to roast us in the comments, because we get a laugh out of it. I mean, I enjoy going through and reading these and laughing at you for your bad and your good takes. So feel free to let us know how you feel.
Yeah, so we definitely had fun with that one, Blake. I do want to get into the situational awareness, the segment where we give advice to submitted questions that we have gotten. And we have 2 this week, Blake. Let me get into the first one here. And I think this is a good question. So it says, "Hey guys, I have a dilemma on my hands. I am a guy who likes to listen to girl music, Katy Perry, Miley Cyrus, etc. All my friends make fun of me for listening to this girly music. But why is it okay for girls to listen to guy music, but guys can't listen to girl music?"
I wasn't aware guys couldn't listen to girl music.
You don't feel like there's not like a stigma?
I don't know. Maybe
if you're in a car with all guys,
bro. If I'm in a guy, let's say I'm in a car with all my my good pals, and we're going on a road trip. If somebody turns on like some Taylor Swift or something, I'll jam out to it. Like Katy Perry, any of her like the old stuff from like back when I was in high school. I don't know any of the new songs, so maybe I'd be like, "What is this?" But if you're taking me back and playing some like classics, the Katy Perry, I mean, even like Miley Cyrus Wrecking Ball, I will be belting it, dude. I don't have a problem with this. I think this guy just needs to get some new friends.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it should be 1000% acceptable, because there are just some karaoke-able songs that are just, sung by amazing women singers. And I don't think it should matter who's in the car. I don't think it should matter who you're with. I think you should be able to enjoy those. And I don't think anybody should, like smirk at you or be like, "Why are you listening to that?" Because, I think if you want to listen to Kesha, that's fine. If you're a guy.
Do you have a guilty pleasure song, Porter?
I'm trying to think. But when you did mention Taylor Swift, I do love to sing Love Story.
Oh,
or the one where it's like, "She wears short skirts, I wear t-shirts." I don't know what that one's called, but
yeah, I don't remember.
I love that
I'm
song.
awful with the names of songs, but like that older Taylor Swift, like the Love Story and all those. I'm awful with names, but if you play them, I'll be singing along. Those are fantastic. I don't usually just like turn them on for myself, but like my wife is a big Taylor Swift fan, and whenever those come through her playlist, I'm always like, jamming out alongside in the car.
I think people would be surprised to know that, you might see me at the gym, I'm like grunting and trying to lift a lot of weight or whatever. That's probably what's coming through the headphones. Not gonna lie, like those classic bangers.
I can't listen to those at the gym. At the gym, I got to be like, I listen to strictly rap at the gym. It's got to be like the hardest. Like, I can't do like the upbeat, just songs. They just don't do it for me. I'll just be like sitting there waiting to get pumped up, and it won't happen.
See, that for me is what pumps me up rather than the rap music or, the hard kind of music that's kind of designed for workout. It doesn't work on me. So that's usually what's coming through my headphones. And so, yeah, I totally don't care. And I mean, there has been times where I'm listening to, like the Crazy Frog song comes on or whatever. It's like, dun, dun, dun. And that's one, if that's coming across your gym playlist, hide your phone so nobody sees, if
that
you
one I will
turn the
judge.
screen on.
I'll judge somebody if they're jamming to Crazy Frog in the gym or anywhere. If you play it unironically, that's a weird choice. I don't know if there's I don't know if there's necessarily anything as girl music and boy music. I don't know if that exists, but good music and bad music does exist, and Crazy Frog might be on the bad side.
No, but hear me out. It's like, you know what an AED is, right? The automatic defibrillator. Yeah. So that's what I need when I'm at the gym, basically. I'm probably tired. I'm probably sleepy. If I can get a song that acts as an AED and just pumps me up more than any pre-workout possibly could,
Crazy Frog does that for you.
It does, yeah. It shocks the system.
Yeah. I know for a fact that you also
Sandstorm.
love Sandstorm. That's exactly what I was going to say. We used to live together, and you could count on at least once or twice a week over the Alexa, you'd hear Sandstorm come on, and I gotta admit, we jammed out to it. It's a good song. I gotta admit.
Oh, it's an excellent song. So yeah, I don't feel like you should have to hide, whatever your guilty pleasure song is.
Get new friends. That's all you need.
Yeah, they should be supporting your music. Everybody around you should not be laughing if you listen to a girl song as a guy, or vice versa, obviously. But hopefully we answered your question good. We have another one, Blake. And this one's important as well. Okay, it says, all right, I need help with this. There's a guy at my work who is not significantly older than me, but always calls me Bud. This nickname drives me absolutely nuts. I need your guys' help to know what I should do to get him to stop.
It's on site. I'm throwing hands. Bud and Buddy are single-handedly the most demeaning. Like, if you want to put somebody down, just call him Bud. Like,
oh yeah,
there's 0% chance that this is not out of spite. Like, it's one thing if it's my mom has called me Bud. That's totally different. That's cool because, like, I grew up and like that's just been something she's called me. But like, if an older guy like that's like my same age calls me Bud, I'm squaring up. That's my advice. You got to throw hands. That's what it comes down to.
Blake's wanting you to risk your job. Meanwhile, I'm saying that's a horrible situation. I agree.
Jobs come and go, but honor is forever. You gotta defend your honor on that one.
Absolutely. I hate it. So that happens to me a lot. I'll deliver, somebody will order like a trampoline, 3 boxes that are 100 pounds each. I'll set it by the garage. Meanwhile, this fat old guy comes out of the garage and, he's like, oh, thanks, Bud. I'm like, Bud? I just carried 3 100-pound boxes. You need to call me.
I'm taking them back,
sir.
I'm putting those boxes back on the truck.
Yeah, I should. I would literally like push them off a hill because, it drives me nuts. And that's been something that I've had to grapple with this situation for a long time. So when I saw it come through, I honestly got kind of heated remembering being called Bud. Everywhere you go, it's so condescending. It just hurts. And so the advice I want to give to this listener is that I think there's another couple of words that you could use to kind of retaliate without fighting them, as Blake suggested.
Pal.
So pal is one, or kiddo is the other.
Ooh,
I think kiddo is super condescending. Kiddo? Yeah. Because that shows, I mean, you're younger than them, but you're like putting them in a box. They can't move when you call them kiddo. They're just going to be quiet, and they're never going to say another thing again. Yeah. I was pretty...
Because this is usually coming from a person who is like trying to put you like say I'm above you, but if you come back and hit him with the combo of Kiddo, that's let's try it out, Porter. I'm gonna hit you with Bud, and then you hit me with Kiddo. I'm gonna let you know how I feel.
Okay, let's go.
You just hauled a trampoline onto my driveway, and you. Oh hey, thanks, Bud.
Yeah, no problem, Kiddo.
They will never call anybody Bud again. Like that is.
I've never had the guts to do it, and I thought about this a couple of years ago.
Please do.
But I will do it next time it happens to me, just because. I mean, even if they're not trying to be condescending, it is condescending, and I think 99% of the population knows that calling somebody Bud is condescending, and so I'm gonna do it.
I've not once ever met somebody who likes getting called Bud, like unless it's a little kid, like.
Or a dog, Air Bud.
Yeah, or
hey, don't forget to leave you cannot leave the legend Air Bud out of this discussion.
Yeah, I mean,
there's only one Bud.
That is, there's one true Bud.
I will not tolerate Air Bud slander on this podcast, Blake.
No, there's no slander of Air Bud on here. Okay. That's fantastic. Air Bud is a legend. So, yeah,
the only acceptable use of Bud.
Yeah, so hit him back with Kiddo and let us know how it goes. If you are successful or if you get into a fight, either way, I don't think you're going to get called Bud anymore, which to me, huge win.
Definitely. Well, if you guys have any more questions that you need answers to, situations that you need advice for, make sure to go to our bio on Instagram at PM in the AM podcast and then click the link there, which the top result will be a Google form where you can actually submit these questions like several listeners did this week. We always appreciate those, and it's a good time to discuss them. After this break, we're going to be sharing a crazy story segment that we have, so you're not going to want to go anywhere.
With warmer temperatures approaching, there is no better way to cool off than with some authentic Brazilian acai from Barraca Acai. I lived in Brazil for 2 years and I fell in love with acai, but when I came back to the US, I was pretty disappointed with the quality of the options here. That is until I found Barraca Acai, which tastes exactly like what they serve in Brazil, because that's exactly what it is. Imported from Brazil and delivered to your doorstep, it is the best treat for summer months. Whether you want it as a healthier alternative to ice cream, or covered in sweetened condensed milk like I do, acai is a superfood that is super delicious. If you're interested, visit their Instagram at Barraca Acai, that's BAHAKAACAI, and send them a DM and let them know that PM in the AM sent you.
And we are back. Blake, I'm really excited to get this off my chest. You know, I've had a kind of a couple of stories involving drug tests, and it's been, you know, they've been really annoying. And I want to say, it's not because I use drugs. So I just want to get that out there. First and foremost, it's not because I have ever used drugs in my entire life. No, you don't use drugs.
You just look like you use drugs. That's
I do get randomly selected.
Individual. Randomly selected every 3 months.
I am really good at the random selection. I will say that. But I just have had the worst experience with drug tests. And it goes back, it goes back about 2 years. And so I know that you know this story, but the people on the podcast have never gotten to hear this story in its full glory. I don't think I've ever shared this on it. So I want to just take you guys back to the first time I started my job. So usually when you start a new job, you have to go get drug tested and you have to go into like a certain spot. So I go into a work med location, and first thing they do is they give you this giant cup that you got to pee in. And for this specific test, I had to pee a lot. So I walk in there. No, I mean, I didn't have to, but they needed me to. So
that changed.
So they draw the line on the cup. I go in the first time and I pee like right below the line. So I'm like, okay, there's no shot they're going to like cancel this, whatever. And so I go out, hand the lady the cup. She looks at it, dumps it down the drain. She's like, no, that's not enough. I was like, you're joking. Like, this is the worst thing.
They don't let you keep it. They don't let you do a little carryover from one pee to the next.
No, dude, it has to be fresh.
They want there's no way they take it and test it right away, right? I mean, it's
I
sitting on the
have no
shelf for
idea.
at least 20 minutes, right? I mean,
There's like 4,000 rules when you go do those things because I guess people are buying pee on the streets or something. But it's so annoying for the people that don't actually use drugs because of all the hassle you have to go through. So anyway,
the pee
she
market.
sticks me next. She said the local pee market. She sticks me next to a water cooler and instructs me to drink water for the next 30 minutes or whatever, and then hopefully I'll have to pee. So I proceed to drink more water in that 30-minute period than any human should ever drink in probably a day. Because I was like, I'm not gonna waste the rest of my day here. I'm just gonna let's bust this out. Anyway, probably like 25 minutes later, she comes to check on me. She's like, "Are you ready?" And at this point, I thought I was good. So I go in there again. I'm ready to do my pee test, and all of a sudden, my stomach just starts rumbling. And this is the one of the loudest and most violent stomach rumbles I have ever experienced in my days on the earth. And I know I have like a couple options. And I know the only way that I'm going to go out of there unscathed without crapping my pants is to let it out in the bathrooms where it literally says on a sign, "Do not poop, pee only." So I violated those rules, Blake, and
You should have pooped in the cup and gave it to him. Be like, you should have taken it the first time.
Dude, I should have. But
I should be able to do a drug test from a number 2, right? I mean, what's the difference?
Dude, I wish in that circumstance, because I had the loudest farting, biggest rumbling diarrhea of all times, and I'm, behind like a 1-inch thick door, so I know the girl outside can hear the entire thing.
Do anything.
Yep.
They're standing right there, so
and there's
you
like
don't do
more
anything
people
fishy.
out there too.
Oh man,
there's at least 5 people right outside the door.
You got
and
spectators for that event.
Horrible. Yeah, and there's and I have the worst diarrhea, and not a drop of pee comes out. So I'm in there. I think I started praying, dude. I was like, I gotta get this done. That's what I'm saying, dude. And it literally, that was the only time in my life. So I'm in there praying, sweating, having the worst experience of my life. And finally, dude, somehow, an absolute miracle, I produced enough pee to finish the test. And I leave out of there, I sprinted out of that building because that was like the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to me.
Did the toilet flush?
Yes.
Because I'm imagining
they have to flush the toilet for you.
Oh no.
They had to walk in there and flush it for you, dude.
They're like, "Did you not see the sign?"
So she saw the massacre. Yeah. She heard and saw the massacre.
If you're not supposed to take a two-ski in there, was there toilet paper, or were you just
there was.
raw dogging okay. That's good.
No, luckily there was toilet paper, or I would have had to request. But yeah, so anyway, the reason I wanted to share this story is because I had to go in for another drug test actually yesterday, and I almost, there was almost another tragedy that occurred. And this wasn't because that time I was smart. I saved up, so I really had to pee. I was ready to go, whatever. But it takes like an hour to get back there. So I had to pee like really bad. And, I get in there, fill the cup perfectly fine, and leave the thing, hand her the cup, and she has to pour it into these 2 different tubes. The first tube she pours it in had a freaking hole in it, dude. And so she's just pouring the piss, and it's leaking out of the tube all over her hand.
Oh no.
So
you couldn't pay me enough to do that job.
I mean,
a urine handler? No way.
I
know. Shout out to those people, man. I hope they make bank, because if they're just walking around dealing with pee all day, that is such an unfortunate position to be in.
Luckily, she had gloves on, but I mean, that is just awkward when you see somebody pouring your pee down their hand. Really, really weird. She's picking it up. My pee's leaking everywhere. Meanwhile, in my head, Blake, I am reliving the trauma of what they call shy bladder syndrome. And I was sweating bullets. I was like, if she ruins this test for me,
that's for
and
sure.
I have to retest, Oh, the first time I did not, but I was so scared, Blake. I thought for sure that she had ruined my test and that I was just going to
Oh,
be
because
out of luck and have to sit there and retake it because she wasted, some of my precious pee. So luckily
liquid
that
gold,
did
as they
not
call it.
happen, but it's the absolute worst. There's nothing worse than being walked back into a waiting room when you sat in the room for 4 minutes trying to pee and you can't, and they loudly announce to everyone as they send you over to the water cooler, "Oh, we got a shy bladder syndrome right here." I'm like, "Oh, yep, that's me, everyone. How's it
That's
going?
actually what they're
Shy
calling
bladder
it.
over here."
Oh man. Okay,
That's what they called it. Yeah.
the only time I've ever had to get a drug test, I apparently came down with the shy bladder syndrome, which, out in public normally I don't have an issue, but this time it was a random drug test to the point where they let me know about 30 seconds before I had to go get drug tested. And this is the
Oof.
only time I've ever been drug
And see,
tested
that's the
in my
problem.
life. Yeah, well, because I had walked out of the bathroom. I kid you not. I walked out and my boss came up to me and said, "Hey, we need you to
Ooh.
go do your drug test." And I was like, "Well, that's bad timing because I just finished." So I went, and luckily I was on the clock because I was paid hourly, and I was in the middle of my shift technically, and so they had me go, and it was just like next door. I sat there for a good 3 hours. I had to go pee towards the end, but I was like, I'm getting paid to do this rather than
That's true.
work. So I'm just gonna draw this out a little bit. So I probably could have left about an hour after or an hour earlier, but I just decided that it was worthwhile to get paid for doing nothing. So I sat there and drew it out a little bit and had a good old time.
Yeah, you're lucky. I mean, what you're describing is much better than the situations that I've been in.
Oh,
And yeah,
far and away.
dude, I am so done with them, and hopefully I don't get randomly selected in the future because I don't know what else
One
could
of these days
possibly
you might
happen in
fail.
this saga. Yeah. Yeah, it's just gonna come back not clean. I'm like, I've never done drugs in my life, but yeah, whoever the drug users are who are ruining it for everybody, making us have to go through this trauma of being, watched over while you pee and all these million rules that exist. We need you guys to just stop using drugs for the convenience of everybody else that doesn't want to take hours out of their day to go pee in a cup. So if you all could kindly do that, I'll finish my rant on this. But
What
I
a way
think
to
that was
stop
really
drug
important to
use.
say.
What a way to
Yeah.
do it. Just asking politely. I don't think anybody's ever considered that before.
Instead of doing the commercials where it's like the black lungs and the people dying and having a hole in their trachea, I'm just like, you know what? Please do me a favor and save me from peeing.
I mean,
Exactly.
we could be onto something. I want this day to be remembered in U.S. history, world history, as the day drug use stopped because Porter didn't want to be drug tested anymore. I mean, what a historical event that I was just a part of. Thank you, Porter.
I guarantee I'm going to get randomly selected next week again now that we've come out and said this, or at least like 3 times in the next month, and I'm going to be livid. But it had to be said, Blake. I had to get that off of my chest. But you got anything else for the listeners on the way out today, Blake? I think we had a pretty good show.
Yeah, I think so. Let us know if you have any questions you want to send in or advice that you need. Obviously, we're experts on the subject, so whatever it is, let us know. We have the form in our bio on Instagram, and we're happy to help.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in, and we will catch you guys next week.
Peace out.
Congrats on making it all the way to the end. We hope you enjoyed the show. You are now officially part of the PM and the AM fan base, the morning people, and we are super pumped to have you here. Now that you're a part of the crew, please share the episode with a friend, and make sure to check out the rest of our shows and social media content for more hilarious brackets, crazy questions, and an overall great time. Thanks for listening. It truly means a lot to us, and we'll catch you guys next week.